image URL as the very, very first 856 field. And Alma will always, always, always take the very first 856 field to put in the portfolio record. Like, and that's just like, that's hard coded into Alma. We can't change that. Since then, Films on Demand, like they heard back from all of their customers immediately and they fixed that. So now all of those cover image URLs are coded to show that they're accessory information. But just to be on the safe side, I have an extra little bit in our import profile that says only look for an 856 field with these two very specific indicators showing that it's the resource itself.
Yes, I think I did the same in my import profile for Films on Demand.
Yeah,
and the Ex Libris documentation does indicate that single portfolio will default to choosing the first 856 one listed. So if there are others, they will remain in the bibliographic record.
Okay, as far as I know, Films on Demand is only putting a single 856 for the resource, you know, plus that accessory that Kirsty mentioned.
So hopefully they don't mess that up again.
Right. Okay. So
yeah, I would recommend, like,
so should I change this?
I would recommend changing that to single portfolio.
Okay. Okay, we also have a delete profile set up for Films on Demand. Should I do the same for that profile? And I guess I should do that for all of my profiles for
yeah, that's honestly safest, unless you know for a fact that you've got a record coming in, like,
oh, okay,
like you've got a bib record for like a multi-volume set, and each volume within the encyclopedia has a different URL, but that doesn't happen a lot with vendor records at this point. A lot of the times when we're getting records from vendors, they created one bibliographic record for each volume of an encyclopedia, and each volume will have its own direct link.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that actually myself, so yeah. Okay, so I will change all of these. Shouldn't take long. I think that's all I have for the moment.
Okay, so I'm kind of wondering, would Kyle be willing to share his screen, and
like he and I could kind of talk, and she was, Abby, were you asking for kind of the recap?
Yeah, that would be awesome. I was having some easy proxy and other troubles, so I think that we use a different method, but like Amy said, they're interested in learning, and just hearing the recap would be helpful.
I would be willing to share my screen. I don't think I have that permission at this right now. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. Try again. Okay.
Yeah, so let me, Kyle, do you want to do a recap?
Yeah. Okay, so can you all see this right now? Okay. Originally, we were having an issue with the full text availability link in OneShare not authenticating. However, I'm not sure what to call it, the lower link on OneSearch was authenticating. Maybe here's an example. this isn't Films on Demand because I deleted all the bibliographic records from Films on Demand this morning.
That's okay.
But so like the link down here would authenticate, but the full text link above would not. So
Yeah, and we trace that back to that, the link that shows up down at the bottom is
mhm,
coming from the bibliographic record, but
mhm.
the link that shows up in the full text availability is
Yeah.
coming from inside the portfolio record.
Right, and there was a queue that
Yeah,
should
there
should
was
not
an
have been.
extra letter in the
Yeah.
URL in the portfolio record that shouldn't have been there, and who knows how it got there.
Yeah, so yesterday Lily was down here and she was kind of helping me a little bit, and we thought we had deleted all the portfolios and bibliographic records for Films on Demand, and I can show you the job report for that real quick just to kind of review what that looked like. See if I can find it real quick. This was yesterday? No, it's probably down here, huh? Is this it? Yep. Oh, so, oops. Is there a,
Oh, that's a delete report.
yeah,
Oh, so there's another way you can get to this. Go into resources
okay,
and under the import section, monitor
Hmm.
and view imports. And that's going to give you a list of just the imports and
Got
not
it.
all the other like
Yeah, that's the one that I was
circulation
looking for.
jobs and
Yeah, the one that you had highlighted earlier. So here's that number that you were talking about.
okay,
Overlaid 696 of them.
okay.
We're pretty
Mm.
sure that we deleted all the bibliographic
Mm.
records as part of the original delete job. We picked that option. And then so when I uploaded, I think it may have to do with the upload, the import job settings now. I think that's the next
Okay,
the next part to look at. So let's look at our manage import profiles. Actually, real quick, I'm going to do something else because I have two import profiles. I have this one from Oklahoma State University, and then I have this one right here, and they're different. And it looks like Ryer in the past has used both of them at different times, and I don't know why, because he's not here to ask. But we can look at the differences real quick. So this is the one that I used yesterday. And so let's just view. So the other one has 856 in all these
Mhm.
fields right here. The Oklahoma State, that's the only difference.
Okay.
I think I had to switch this, said, delete, deactivate portfolios.
Mhm.
When I originally looked at it, when I compared it to the screenshot that you sent me this morning, it said yes. So I switched that to
Okay.
no. Is that the right thing to do?
That shouldn't make that much of a difference. Back when I first created our Films on Demand import profile,
Mhm.
I was being really, really cautious, and I
Mhm.
was kind of suspicious of trying to use the same import profile to both add things and delete them.
That makes sense to
Because
me.
it seemed like that, like a lot of bad things could have happened if I did that. And so I wanted to keep the two things really, really separate.
Yeah.
But I've played around with it since, and now I'm more comfortable saying, yeah, go ahead and use the same import profile to both add records and delete them.
Mhm.
There's a little, for all the titles that are being deleted, there's a little code that's hidden in like the leader or the 008 mark field that's a D for deleted, and Alma will never add something where that D is in is in the leader 008 field.
Noko says she also uses one profile for adding and deleting. So we've
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I feel more comfortable doing that. You know, it sounds cleaner.
mhm.
So does it matter that the 856 is not listed in these field in this right here?
It shouldn't.
Because
Simply
that's, as
because
far as I can
the-
tell, that's the only difference between the two, other than this
Yeah.
setting right here as well. I'm gonna go ahead and run this import again at some point.
Actually, before you do that, let's do a search and let's see if there are any bib records in your system that came
from Films on Demand. And we're
Sure.
going to find this, we're going to be able to identify these records because they have a specific code in a MARC 035 field. And I've got a note somewhere of what that is. Hold on, I'm opening up my notes. George, Naoko, do either of you remember?
Sorry, remember what?
The 035 field in the Films on Demand vendor records has a, like the MARC code for films on, oh, FOD. I found it, FOD.
Oh, the code FOD.
Yeah.
I have huge OneNote folders and things. Okay, so we're gonna do a repository search of all titles. So this is like up at the top. Yeah,
Mhm.
change the electronic titles to all titles. And it might have, I think it's called other system number. Other
Other-
system number, yeah. Oh, actually, let's do an advanced search.
Sure.
Click on the magnifying glass with the plus. Okay, so all titles, other system number.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, change accompanying material to be other system number. Starts with
Sorry.
open parentheses FOD.
Wait.
And you can toss in a closed parentheses if you want, I think.
And if that doesn't turn up anything, then we'll do a other system number contains FOD just to be on the safe side.
Okay. Let's try the search again where other system number contains FOD.
Contains.
Yeah, contains phrase.
And do we want the
Take out the parentheses just in case.
okay.
It's
These
been a
things
while
feel so high
since I've
stakes,
done
you
this. I
know?
don't remember for sure. But, okay, well, it looks like you've got rid of all of the bib records.
Yeah. I did.
For your most recent import, Kyle, didn't it match on like 600 of them? Are you able to look at the details of monitor import? Not just all of the jobs, but the
So I did delete 37,835, which is like pretty roughly the same number that I uploaded yesterday.
Okay.
I think maybe the exact number. But yeah, do you want me to look at the import job again?
No, No. No, I think we're good.
Okay. I'm pretty sure they're gone. That's
Okay.
Yeah, so one last thing that I would suggest based on personal experience.
Mhm.
So is waiting until tomorrow to
No,
do
it's not a
the
problem. I can
import.
wait.
And like, and I don't know why, Ex Libris says it's once you've gotten the confirmation that the delete job is finished running, you're good. All I can say is from personal experience, I notice weird things if I delete the bib records and then do a fresh import on the same day.
Okay.
I
It's not a
notice
problem to wait.
fewer problems if I delete the records one day and then import them the next day.
Yeah. I can wait. I can wait till tomorrow.
Well, this was great. Thank you. And I did put a link to the thread in these minutes that I'll have posted with the recording, so that if people want to go back and check out Kirsty's written directions with screenshots or view this, that'll be available. Does anyone have any other questions like on this topic?
Victoria had another question in the chat, and that might
Oh,
be another
good.
good one of like having somebody share their screen.
I'll stop sharing.
So Victoria, would you be willing to share your screen, or would you want like Carly or me to share our screens?
There we go. Other mute button. If one of you guys could, because we're just trying to see, do we really need all three collections? What's in those three collections? But we don't know how to find what titles are in each collection.
Well,
Kirsty, if you're in your Alma right now and want to share, and then I will get into Pierce's, right, Victoria?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
give me
yes.
Just a sec, because I've got somebody's user record pulled up, and I don't want you all looking at somebody's user record. Okay. Share screen. Okay, so I'm gonna preface this by saying that
when we originally set up how we were doing films on demand, it was like back in 2017 when we first migrated, and there might be some things that we would do differently now, possibly, probably. So one question about I think that Amy had about the bib records that exist in the Alma community zone. We took a look at those, and those are really, really sparse. Like it's a title and that's it. Like there's no, for the feature films, there's no information about who was starring in the feature films. There are no subject headings at all on the documentaries. So we felt that it was important to have that information and have it be searchable in our catalog. So that's why we're getting the vendor records.
And there are different films on demand collections in the community zone. And on top of that,
one of the things we discovered was that we talk about, oh, we've got a films on demand subscription, but really Infobase has multiple packages that they sell different libraries. In our case, our subscription was specifically for the Films on Demand Master Academic Video package. And then they threw in the Archival Films and Newsreels video collection as a freebie. And those are the two names that show up on our invoice. And so we wanted our purchase order lines in Alma to reflect what was on the invoice. So we attached purchase order lines to the Master Academic Video package and the Archival Films and Newsreels video collections. Those are also database type electronic collections, so they don't have any portfolio records, or at least they didn't back in 2017 when we set this all up. So because back in 2017, the Alma Community Zone didn't have any bib records at all, we put our POLs on the two products that showed up on the invoice, and then we created a local electronic collection that we put all the vendor records on. And when you look at the electronic collections, you can see, does this thing have portfolios or not? You can, if you want, you can click on the portfolio list button, but it's not a really helpful display. Like, there's a lot of extraneous information and it takes up a lot of room. But if you click on Edit Service, and then click on the Portfolios tab, you get a display list that's a lot easier to read. It's a lot easier to see. And if you want, you can export it into an Excel file to do some filtering and maybe have a slightly better interface for looking at the whole list.
Okay,
Does that get at what you were asking, Victoria?
And then from here, would that show which collection it's part of?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so,
Okay.
so
I've
if
got
you start
theirs
at the collection level,
if we want to switch.
okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So this is what I got when I searched Films on Demand. Is this what you would expect me to find, Victoria?
Yes,
Okay.
as far
And-
as I know.
Okay. And you're wondering if we can see in your portfolio list which collection titles belong to.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah, so kind of if you're coming at it from the viewpoint of, I want to know what titles are in a specific collection, start with an electronic collection search and navigate down into the portfolio list from there. So you search for the name of the collection, you edit the service record or view the collection and click the additional tab. That service record gets you to a portfolio tab, which is a list of everything that's linked to that collection. If you were coming at it from a different way of, I know that this e-title exists, but I need to find out, what collection it belongs to. Let me think.
Well, I'm only seeing one collection in their institution zone for
Yeah.
films on demand. And Victoria, you were saying you have 3?
Yeah, we have, I guess the films on demand, they say we have 3. They say we get 3 collections. They're getting ready to pay the bill.
Okay. So that's kind of what I was,
I left out part of that story. So when we get our invoice for films on demand, it has the master academic video package and it has the archival whatever. But when we get the vendor records from Infobase, they don't split those records up at all. They just say, here are all of your MARC records for every single package that you pay for. And because of that, because we get the vendor records as one huge lump and we can't separate them out, we have one electronic collection that has all the MARC records for all the titles. And then we have separate electronic collections that don't show up in Primo at all. We only use them to have the purchase order lines and the order information and the invoice information. So the electronic collections that represent the master academic video package and the archival newsreels and films or whatever, those are kind of just back end just for staff to use.
And
And what
then
we-
you load every single MARC record into one local collection. Now,
Correct.
if Pierce is doing what I always did and what Abby said, what some other folks are saying is that they have just activated from the community zone, then Victoria, like, have you found all 3 of those collections that they're saying you have in the community zone, I guess, is my question.
I don't know about in the community zone. I download the records. Yeah, I import the records. I download them from Films on Demand and then import them.
Okay, so hopefully Films on Demand is giving you all the ones you're paying for. I wonder if, maybe they're saying you have master academic and archival films, and you
I'm
want to
not
know
sure exactly which 3 collections they are.
and you want to
I'm
know
not-
like which ones belong to archival films, for example, and which
which titles go with which collection that we get.
There's not a good way to do that. That's not going to take a huge amount of time and be extremely labor intensive. I
Okay.
don't think that there might be reports on the Infobase admin portal that would say these specific titles are in these specific packages. But if you try to do that in Alma, that way lies madness. Just don't. What you
Okay.
want to do in Alma is have one local collection that has all of the bib records that will,
Which it seems like you do.
yeah. And then if you're using Alma for acquisitions, there are a
Which
couple
we
of
are-
Chris's, and I'm going to tag in George Babcock here because George has helped us deal with this for years. Like one thing that you could do is just put the invoice on your local Films on Demand electronic collection. And you would just have notes that say, hey, I know that these specific line items show up on the invoice, but all of this is represented by one electronic collection in Alma. The way that we do it is we've turned on the Alma community zone collections for the specific packages that show up on our invoice, Master Academic and the archival films and newsreels. But those are set up to not display in Primo. We only use them to attach the purchase order line and the invoice to. George, do you want to have a stab at explaining that a little bit better?
Yeah, we have, or you, now it's you. Seattle Central would use this one bib for the collection, which would house all the portfolios, and then we would just have technical POLs for the line items on the invoice. I mean, that's how I remember it.
But yeah, if you want to split out the Master Academic video package titles from the other titles in Alma, you can't, not without, like I said, huge amounts of manual work on your part. So just don't.
Okay, I'll see if I can find something easier on the Films on Demand site.
I was never a big fan of Films on Demand, because that, yeah, this exact issue. Yeah, and Victoria, if you want some help dealing with Infobase or being in their admin, just let me know. Okay, 1040. I would love to get a little input on Abby's Easy Proxy issue, because it is not one that I can figure out either, because on campus is not working, but off campus is. And we've checked log files, IP ranges, the fact that off campus is working. Yeah, anybody have any thoughts?
I haven't posted to the list. This issue came up just recently, and so for a heads up, we host our own Easy Proxy here at Whatcom Community College, and just yesterday, maybe this week, we're getting that weird Easy Proxy login box that says, I don't know what to do with you all. Here's a login screen. It's like a very generic thing, very old school. which is super weird. And that's just from on campus when you're trying to link to resources through Primo and through proxied URLs that we have elsewhere on our site. But it works from off campus. It works from home. It prompts users to log in using, gosh, I'm blanking on the authentication. So I don't know if anyone's got a lot of experience or if you'd like me to show. I don't want to take the group's time too if there's more group oriented stuff, but I would appreciate any thoughts or help.
Could it be something in Alma with integration with the Easy Proxy, which is under, oh, where is it under? It's under the configuration discovery and then user authentication.
So I tried to share in the integration profile list is where I see Easy Proxy listed. I did look under user authentication, but there's nothing really configurable there. You can tell which authentication services to use. And right now we've got it pointed towards Shibboleth and Azure. And I'm real green on authentication methods. I'm still like actively learning about them. But so, and I had just been inquiring about using Azure. But yeah, so nothing has really changed. Our authentication for Easy Proxy, I mean, this is our proxy URL. It has been since I started. The proxy IP listed here looks okay. From here's the config file for Easy Proxy. You can see that it's off by a digit. I don't know if you can see it all, but this is what do you call it? Hashtagged out. So you know, it's just a note. I don't see this number, the proxy IP listed, but regardless, I haven't changed anything. In the Easy Proxy config. I did restart the config. I did look at the messages and the logs, looking if there were any errors. But
And
so,
Abby, is it happening with it's happening with the A to Z database links too, not
Yeah.
just through Primo?
right. So I have all of our databases and of course all of our resources coming through our Primo, right? I have all of I like created our A to Z list sort of here. So we also have just a WordPress page with them all. So we don't use libguides, for example, but it functions kind of the same, right? That we append the proxy, the Easy Proxy prefix to the database link. And if I choose one, this is, hopefully you can still see my screen, this access denied, like this is a really old logo. Yeah, I don't know what all this is. I didn't create it. It's not the typical thing that users should see. The users should see a, oh, I can't think of the service.
Like your SSO sign in?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I try to log in using my SSO credentials, I do get in, but I don't know what that access denied page was.
Can you try the link from the website without the proxy prefix?
Oh. So if I'm like, So I just do, well, that's not a good one, is it? So I'm looking for one where, and this is, yeah, anyway. So here is one that is proxied with a, right? So this should be going to the Business Resource Center or something like that. Biography Reference Center, and it did pass me through. So there's something about our proxy, right?
Mhm.
It's like, because, and that's that weird login is
Yeah,
something
'cause-
I've seen just randomly before. When Easy Proxy doesn't know what to do with an incoming request, it'll send out this like janky file. I don't know where that was created or where it's stored, but
yeah,
yeah.
so your IP ranges with the vendor are
Yeah.
fine.
Right. And I double checked what's my IP, like, did they change the IP in some way? That's loaded in our config file.
And Abby, before all this started happening, when you were on campus and connecting into, one of the databases, did you get prompted
No,
log in or not? You didn't?
No, it would just say, oh, don't try to proxy this particular IP address. And the database says, yep, we're cool with that IP. I mean, it was just seamless. You just go right to the resource.
Yeah, it was just, yeah, the proxy wasn't taking over, it was just passing it on. And now it's somehow not.
Yeah, and I think you pointed this out, Carly, if you can see the URL right up here, it's doing like, so the URL has a user unknown. I don't know if this is typical, but it's definitely not knowing what to do with it. This HTTPS, right? Is that, no, that's defined in the proxy URL. So I'm like busted. I don't know where to go.
Yeah, the Easy Proxy listserv Kirsty, is that an OCLC?
Yeah. It's run by OCLC, but and it's got folks who are on both hosted and self-hosted. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of the stuff on that list that I can't even understand. So my take is there are some experts on that list, and that might be a really good place to ask for help.
I think I am on that list. So I will shoot
And
it
I know
out.
self-hosted kind of can be a really unique thing, because I was dealing with that the very last week of October before I joined you guys. Yeah, I feel like the answer is like right at the front of my brain. And I'm like,
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think that there's a new version of Easy Proxy, but I was looking at the details and it shouldn't have. College IT department made changes. Oh yeah, absolutely, Lori. They're not very good at communicating, and they're also a little bit mad at me. So that was my first horrible but true. Like, what did they do to me? They blocked me. But I can still log into the server. I can still, start and stop and restart the service. So I can't figure what they would have changed. We updated the security certificate earlier this year, so that shouldn't be expired or expiring. But I'll reach out to them. I think that's a good suggestion. Like, hey, did anything change with at all? Like proxy firewalls? Yeah, thank you. And I'll dig into the archives of that Easy Proxy server. Thanks for giving me some time. Just being here. I didn't mean to. I know it's not everybody, like everybody has so many different roles and different setups. So thanks for the time. Wish me luck.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have a few minutes. If someone has another question they'd like to source to our group today. And as always, I will hang out for a minute if someone would like. Yeah, George.
Oh, sorry. Just a quick question. Friday, Victoria reported that Alma inventory tool went down. What was the issue there?
It was so silly. The service that Wade used to host that PHP requires that administrator accounts log in on a regular basis, and he had not logged in a year, and so it just suspended his account. So when he found the login information, which he had not provided, he'd not given it to me, and I tried every single email that I knew of that could have been associated with it. He logged in to change the admin to me. That satisfied the administrator has logged in, and it unsuspended the account. So I was like, yay, I look like a hero. I did nothing.
All right. Well, thank you, because at Highline, we're just starting inventory, getting ready to run during the Christmas break, and we were kind of freaking out. Oh no, the tool's broken.
No, and he also gave me a backup of that PHP. I don't anticipate needing it now, but if something were to happen now with what's hosted on that Always Data site, at least I've got a copy of it, so I could host it somewhere else.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing. But so anyway, I have been crafting the survey that I have been talking about doing to gather information, the like member assessment needs thing. So I'm working on that. All of the obvious questions are on there. I'm going to give my brain one last afternoon to think about it, and then I will be sending it out via the listservs. And I would love to have as many people from your institutions fill it out as possible, because there are questions that don't, nothing is required. So if you don't know the answer to it, but you want to answer something else, that is totally an option. So yeah, anyone, everyone, frontline staff, faculty, directors, if you've got IT folks that work with you frequently, yeah, anything. So I hope to have that out tomorrow. So just, yeah, it turned into like a full-blown SWOT analysis. So sorry for that, but I get a little strategery-ish sometimes. So, all right, 10:56, have a wonderful rest of your week. If you're here on the east side, I hope that your afternoon commute home is safe as the weather is coming in. West side, I'm sure it's been a little wild. So yeah, everybody take care, and we'll see you next week.